Hi Taurus, this is your reading for the week of November 3rd, or when you hear it and it resonates. And it might be for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or a lot of Taurus in your chart. So Taurus, the first card that I pull for you is a reminder that you have a lot of positive energy, and that when you remember to just allow it to be around you, it's really what you lead with. And you're being asked to remember that about yourself. The whole reading, as the cards come out and as I'm feeling the energy of this for you, Taurus, it feels very much as though you are now at a point where you have worked really, really hard, and you have taken on certain amount of stick-to-itness in order to get through whatever it is you needed to do in order to get beyond that sense of lethargy and kind of inherited hopelessness, almost that sense of why bother, or not just why bother, but that sense that life is a struggle. And it feels as though you inherited that, but that's not basically your nature. Basically, your nature is to be really quite positive. But when you're faced with that in a family, when you're raised with the idea that things are going to be difficult, that it doesn't make sense to try, what you can do, Taurus, what many of you have done as children is you said in your own mind, I got to find a way out of this. And your way out was to work really, really hard. For some of you, your way out was also to work really hard, but also to play really hard. And so it's sometimes been a little difficult for you to find a balance between the two. Now, what Spirit has been saying is it's really good for you to have some kind of structure for yourself that allows you to remember that life can be lighthearted, that there are moments of joy and beauty that you can ease into, and you can remind yourself to look at that. So when the structured free flow card comes up, what that says for me is make point of anchoring whatever the new habit is you'd like to create to something that you're already doing. And a habit, well, that can sound like it's really heavy and a lot of work, but it might be something as simple as saying, when I sit down to have my coffee, that's when I'm going to decide, how do I want to experience my day? I'm going to remind myself to look for beauty. And what can I see in my environment around me? What's going to make me smile? And to say, every time you eat, every time you take a drink of something, stop in the moment and say, what can I see, remember, feel like in life about me, about anything that's going on that lifts me up? And part of what is lifting you up right now, Taurus, is that you have a feeling that you are setting yourself free in a way that you haven't been before. Now, you are also getting the card of, I just lost it. It was here a minute ago. You're also getting the card of discipline. And it's the reminder that discipline doesn't have to be about pain. It doesn't have to be about punishment. You can discipline yourself to actually be more playful. Really, discipline is just something that goes really well with the structured free flow card, because what it does is it says, this is your reminder to do something. It's not a force. It's not forcing you to it. It's reminding you. And if in those moments, Taurus, you can remember why you're choosing to discipline yourself around certain behaviors, it's easier to follow through. So if it's canceling a negative behavior, it might be, yeah, I really want to smoke, but do I want to be dealing with the effects of smoking on my body that I feel? No. Okay, then it's a lot easier for me to move aside. And by just asking that question, I've broken the 3 seconds or however many it is when an addictive impulse will shift, right? So that's one thing. But you're being asked to remind, because you've got the bubbly card, you're also being reminded of the fact that pleasure is something that actually creates the ability to achieve more. When you're working in heartfelt pleasure, you are actually in a higher frequency, and you're a lot more inclined to have intuitive hits, positive impulses, pleasant memories. Energy is magnetic. So the more you can remember that pleasure is not something that's not noble, that as long as you can think of pleasure as being something that is a positive thing and that can actually bring better things into your life, as opposed to something that's going to make you a hedonist, the more you can actually, the more productive you will be and the more positive you're going to see. Now, the other thing is, what was it? It ran through my head. It was just a second ago. It's important for you to remember, this is really important. It's important for you to remember that if you are creating any sense of discipline or structure for yourself, that you really do it in a fun way, and you really do it with the intention of expansion. Because when we create structures, and Taurus is really good at creating structures, you can make them too tight. It can be like a budget that's too tight. If you make your budget too restricted, you're going to blow it. If you allow room for movement within a budget and choices and options and things that can be organic and flow, then you're a lot more inclined to maintain that structure, especially if you allow for lovely things in there. When you are setting yourself a discipline, remember, it's not just about cutting out bad behavior, it's about anchoring into new things that are positive and life supporting for you and lead you more to pleasure, okay? If you need to figure out what's going on for you in terms of what kind of expansively positive, pleasure inclined behaviors that you want to start enforcing for yourself, take a little bit of time and just be quiet about it, because you are very good at getting in touch with your feelings at a physical sense. You're not always really clear on what it means, but you can usually get in touch with a physical sense of an emotion. It might take you 24 hours to process it, and it might not. But usually there's a little bit of delay time, because it will process through your lovely logical Taurian brain, and then you'll come out with an understanding. But you can also kind of short circuit that, get in touch with your physical body. And if it feels in your physical body, when you think of doing something or you're making a plan, if you find your physical body expanding and feeling good about it, chances are that's going to be something that will be, that your system is saying yes to. And if your system is saying yes to it, you're a lot more inclined to follow through with it. If you want to check out on YouTube, check out the kinesiology sway test. That's one of the ways that you can actually start using, like, setting up definitive markers for what is a yes and for what is a no in terms of what's good for what's good for you, and it's using your whole body as kind of like a compass point for you. Okay, so Taurus, oh my goodness, there's one I haven't pulled yet. Okay, here we go. You are also being asked to remember that that when you're making these changes for yourself, when you're really working to set yourself free, where's that card? Here it is. That you're being asked to be as neutral as you can when you're assessing what it is you want to do. And in order to be able to be as neutral as you can, be as quiet as you can, limit yourself to doing one action at a time. It doesn't mean you have to be absolutely doing nothing, but doing one thing at a time with full focus, like washing the dishes or dusting or washing the car. It doesn't matter. do just one thing. Don't be talking at the same time. Don't be listening to music while you're doing it. Let yourself stay neutral and quiet within whatever activity you're doing. And if you can unplug from external influences, whether it's people or social media, phone, limit it as much as possible to kind of create that space around you, because you are really, really on the verge of great, I want to say great freedom, but it's more than great freedom. It feels like this is a foundational shift for you in core beliefs that's really, really going to completely change the trajectory of where you can go and what you can create for yourself. Because now there are not going to be the external authority figures in your mind operating on you. You are understanding that you are your own moral authority, because that sense of rightness that is inherent to us as spiritual beings is in there. And when you let it guide you, it won't steer you wrong. That's what you're understanding. And you're learning now to trust yourself and your perceptions so that you're able to lean into that internal moral authority. And when I say moral authority, it's not just about, sins or legal issues. It's really about what is aligned with your heart in a way that makes you feel expansive and connected and fulfilled and whole, for the most part, because nobody's ever going to exist in that all the time. Well, not yet. Maybe in 20 years we will. But for now, we're still very much in the growing process. But that is what we want to lean more and more towards. And that's what you're leaning towards, Taurus. So I leave you with that. God bless. Take care. And thanks for coming. Bye.